We had some challenges, but we also had a good many successes as well. Along with the COVID came some federal dollars that was extremely helpful, particularly with the ARPA funds and helping us make some pretty massive improvements. We have not seen the results of those improvements yet, particularly with our infrastructure, water and sewer, but those projects have been either in the queue right now or have already been bid and let and getting ready to start construction. So we've got several projects. With our ARPA money, number one, we bought the capacity, an additional 300,000 gallons a day from the county for a wastewater treatment plant. So that sets us up for the next 40, 50 years without having to do any kind of major expansion based on the numbers we're expecting in growth.
And people that don't do what you do and don't think about it, tell them why that's such an important thing, because people don't think about
our plant is fairly new, so it's a fairly new plant. It's a good plant. It does a great job, but capacity, the more you grow, the more you have entering the plant. And so our plant is rated at 1 million gallons a day. We were using, at times, particularly during major rain events, we were using up to 700,000, using our capacity that we had available. And the county owned 300,000 gallons of capacity in our new plant that they had never had any use for. And so we were able to purchase that back. To put it in perspective, we bought it for $1 a gallon. So 300,000 gallons was a day was $300,000 we used of our ARPA funds to purchase that from the county. To put that in perspective, had we add or built onto our plant, that would have been roughly $25 to $28 per gallon. So you're talking millions and millions of dollars that we just simply don't have to be able to have that capacity through Department of Health and Environmental Control to be able to treat and plan for the growth that we're expecting over the next 40, 50 years.
And there's been a lot of growth this year.
There's been quite a bit of growth, and there's still a whole lot more coming. I know, Greg, you and I have talked about it over and over and over, and one of the frustrating things for me in government is the wheels of government turns very, very slow, certainly a lot slower than the private sector. However, all of our projects that we've talked about throughout the year are on task, on target, whether that be Ingalls, whether that be Brock Lane development, Saratoga Oaks, Saratoga Villages, Mahaffey Road, and now we've got Minor Street project under construction now. That's a new housing development back behind the apartments there at Middleton and Minor Street. So I think that's 30, 40 homes going in there. They're currently installing infrastructure there in that new subdivision as we speak. So
and some of the things are completed. You did some upgrades at the park. Remind people what happened at the park.
Yes, so we've got we did several electrical upgrades in the park. That's been completed. We got a renovation, thankfully, to Hillcrest Baptist Church. If you look at our amphitheater, that's been completely redone. Looks amazing. They did a phenomenal job. The only thing we had to pay for was materials, so we're super thankful to Hillcrest Baptist Church and their Lazarus project for helping us get that one off the ground and up and going. We've installed some pedestals out in the park to allow for food trucks to be able to come in, hook up, and connect to it, as well as Spring Water Festival. That was a huge drawback for some of the vendors at Spring Water Festivals. They didn't have power or reliable power to be able to connect to, so we were able to remedy that. Obviously, our pickleball courts, that was a big one. We finished those up, and I'm proud to say we've got lots and lots of activity out there. Our basketball court as well, man, that thing gets used all the time. So we've got several tournaments are planned for 2023 on the pickleball court. Most recently, we actually have the Special Olympics out of Anderson County that are reserving the courts and using those to practice. So we're excited about that, being able to see people take advantage and use that area of the park that since probably the mid-'80s has been just not used at all. It's a big, expansive area of the park that has gotten very little use. So it's good to see that use coming back.
In walking distance, you've added a new dog park and some plans for that land.
So with the help of Envision Williamston, we've installed a dog park. Again, you can park in Mineral Spring Park. We're back behind Town Hall, and it's easy walking distance to get over there to the dog park. We've got some new benches that'll be going in there very soon. So it's right along the creek bank behind the fire department. Please do not park in the fire department parking places. By the way, they need those for emergency responders that come in if they get a fire. They need a place to park their personal vehicles. But it's a great activity back there. We're expecting some benches to come in. We did sign a contractual agreement with a developer to develop the depot. We would still retain ownership of the depot, but they would maybe get free lease for a period of time in exchange for their money that they put into that depot to preserve it, number one, and also to get some use out of that depot. It's a beautiful structure that we'd love to see preserved. And if we don't do that, the town doesn't really have the money to go in and upfit that depot, and then you have to staff it if it's an event center or whatever it might be. We just don't have the resources to do that. So for years it's sat in the same place, and not any activity has happened with it. So hopefully we'll see some of that happen in the very near future. I'm told in the next couple months we should start seeing some activity on the depot. The old water treatment plant, we've also signed a agreement with them, with the same developer, and they're going to call that whole area right in there Big Creek Station. And we're very hopeful that we would have some things that will be, what's the word I'm looking for, that would be something like you would see downtown Greenville. The developers have made it very clear that they want something that will be something that would attract people from outside, something unique to Williamston. And I think that's one of the things we're lacking. You know, we have Mineral Spring Park, which is obviously unique to Williamston. And if you're from Williamston and you live here all your life, you kind of take it for granted, Mineral Spring Park. But I'm telling you, that is a huge, huge asset that most municipalities would kill for, to be able to have Big Creek running right through the middle of town, and the amenities that we have and we're able to offer our community and those that visit our community. So we're expecting to see that come to fruition here in 2023. Big Creek Station be something unique that maybe if you lived in Simpsonville or Fountain Inn or Greenville, you would wake up on Saturday morning, tell the wife and kids, hey, let's go hang out in Williamston for the day. That's what we're looking for, and I think that's what this developer, we're in the early stages of it. We've got a notice of intent, a memorandum of understanding, so that they're doing their due diligence on that now. We've already completed EPA phase 1, and that came back very positive, so we're expecting to see some activity there in 2023.
And as part of a lot of this too, where are we at on the trails that are planned?
All right, so our trails, our phase 2 of Mineral Spring Greenway will actually take place in 2023. We've got grant funding for it. It's a 50-50 match. It's going to be about $300,000 of town money, $300,000 of ARC money. They are currently bidding that project as we speak. That will go from Veterans Park and continue all the way out, almost out to Mill Street, back behind the Brock Lane development along the creek bank there. And again, it's some beautiful, beautiful scenery back there. So that'll give us almost a mile of greenway, which I believe is 12-foot wide concrete. So it's a fairly expansive greenway. It will be to the point where you could get up, if you lived in Brock Lane or Gatewood or Mill Street or somewhere like there, William Street, you could literally get up, go get on the trail, walk to, hopefully in the next 2 years, an Ingles store, and some of the other amenities, Big Creek Station. Imagine being able to go out and hang out for the day, have a beer, walk your dog, do whatever, whatever. It's a chance to be able to spend the day in Williamston without having to get out and drive.
And the year also brought the return of all, like we touched on with the park, all of the major festivals and events. Let's talk about how successful that was this year.
So all of our events have been heavily attended. We're still expecting to see even more attendance. We expect to see that grow. Some of our folks that have worked on these committees for years, we starting to see fresh blood. We're starting to see those folks with new ideas. So I would expect that you're going to start to see Spring Water Festival and some of the other festivals change it up a little bit. Even Pig in the Park that the Masonic Lodge puts on, I would expect in 2023 to actually see some additional things along with Pig in the Park going on at the same time in the park.
I've been to the Spring Water Festival for a number of years. That and the festival in October looked to be the biggest crowds I've ever seen. I mean, just people lined up everywhere. Yeah.
We're the balloon festival that they have through the Anderson Cancer Society has been a huge hit as well. We're expecting to see that continue to grow too. The more people become aware of what we have going on, and again, Williamston is in such a place, a lot of people don't realize the amenities that we do offer and what a unique town that we really are. And so I'm expecting people to start, once they continue to see that, they'll start to come back and visit and spend their money here is what we're hopeful.
And one thing you did this year was you put all of your Christmas holiday events on one day. How did tell people about that and remind people how that went?
So this year, what a lot of people don't understand, particularly with the parade, there's a lot of moving parts in creating a parade. Number one, it happens on a DOT highway, so you got to have their approval to shut the highway down. You've got to coordinate with the churches. You've got to coordinate with the schools, with the bands, with ROTC. There's a whole lot of coordinating that goes on with a parade. At the same time, we had Envision Williamston was doing their annual lighting ceremony, which I think you were here. It was a huge hit. We had I think 4 carriages going at the same time for carriage rides. We had hay rides, we had snow, we had the lighting of the tree, and all the local pastors were actually reading the nativity story. So a lot of things were happening. For me, I want to tell you, it was kind of a pull your hair out kind of moment, because it rained up until noon, and so we literally had from noon till 3 o'clock to get in the parade, and then jump from this thing to that thing. I think it was a huge hit. A lot more. I expected the attendance to be lower, simply because it was all on the same day, and it was in November, at the end of November, last week in November. But I was pleasantly surprised. There was a good turnout for it, and it actually worked out very well, because every other weekend we've had, as you know, December has been a very, very wet month. Every other parade has been either rained out or they had rain during the parade. So the good Lord was good to us, and we had it the last weekend in November, and it worked out very, very well for us. Both events were attended very heavily, the parade and the lighting.
No other town in the county puts out for Christmas like y'all do. Who's behind all the town hall decorations and the...
So there's people think, I guess, that it's just me and town employees, but there is a whole lot of people that put a lot of effort into making Christmas special in Williamston. Whether it's here at Town Hall, we've got 2 ladies that work very hard on it. Sheila and Debbie Chapman work hard in coordinating. But a lot of these trees right here, if you go through the halls here at Town Hall, you will see that most of those are put up by individuals in memory of someone or in honor of someone, or a business that helps promote their business. And the exact same thing happens in Mineral Spring Park with the displays that are there. The town puts up the major large displays, and then business groups, whether it be members of the business association or just local business that want to get their name out there, they're able to put up a display as well. In coordination with the town, we determine where the location they can set up at. And it becomes a good opportunity to advertise in front of thousands of people that come through Mineral Spring Park end of November to the first week of January when it's lit up. So it's a great opportunity for them. It's a great opportunity for us. Again, Mineral Spring Park brings in more people than you could possibly imagine, especially through Christmas time. So those people go, eat at our restaurants. They go fuel up their vehicles at our convenience stores. They spend time and they spend their money here in Williamston. So that's important to us.
And for people who haven't been over here, do you have any idea how many trees are in this town hall building?
Debbie would probably be able to tell you, but it is a lot. I think it gets bigger every year, and we're at a point now where I don't know if we had people that wanted to put up trees. I don't know where they'd put them. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It is a magical place to work, as you can tell just here behind me. This office, all of Town Hall is just absolutely magical this time of year. We look forward to it every single year.
Maybe the most important thing in Williamston this year was your new strategic plan. Remind people when y'all announced that and what's going on.
Yep. So our planning commission, along with the Appalachian Council of Governments, Chip Bentley and his organization, came through, and we have to do that every 10 years. We update our comprehensive plan. So that was updated this year. It shows a lot of good growth. They're anticipating the growth that's coming our way, and they're planning for it. Now, our planning commission is tasked with not only doing that, but also continuing to evaluate our zoning and make sure that we're zoned appropriately and we know what that growth looks like as it happens. And again, the previous administration, I'll give kudos where kudos are due. He planned very, very well for growth. So when the growth came this way, the only thing we have to do is make minor adjustments to make sure that it's suited with our community and our needs of the community.
Any particulars on that y'all want to remind people of?
There wasn't any drastic changes. Again, our comprehensive plan was a very good plan from the onset, and I credit our previous administration for making sure that we had our ducks in a row when it came time for the growth. So we had minor little changes here and there. One of the few changes that was made that I think is most impactful is we've now pretty much banned any multifamily dwellings. So we've got enough apartment complexes here in Williamston. We've got enough duplexes here in Williamston. Now we're wanting people to move here, have a vested interest in the town. So when you're a homeowner or you buy a home in Williamston, you have a vested interest in the town, and versus apartment complex. Nothing wrong with apartment complexes. We've already got our share of apartment complexes. Typically, those folks don't have a vested interest in the town. There's exceptions to every rule, but a lot of times people are here for a year or two just living in an apartment, and they're not planning to stay here and make their homes here.
You also had some news coming in right here at the end of the year. You've got a new police chief, and you were telling me a couple other things. What's new here right here at the end of the year?
Yeah, so here at the end of the year, a couple things have happened. You've got Chief Marcy. Thankfully, he has accepted the position of police chief here in Williamston. Chief Taylor went ahead and retired, I think, in June or July. He did an outstanding job for us, but we were kind of in limbo. We were trying to figure out what would be the best fit, and rather than actually posting that position, I had conversation with several stakeholders in the community, along with our council, and as well as with Chief Marcy, and he agreed to accept that position. And why is that a big deal? Chief Marcy has been around law enforcement for many years, highly regarded in the law enforcement community. He could be police chief probably in any major city he wanted to be in. He's that talented and that experienced. But I guess with me twisting his arm, he did accept the position here in Williamston. We're grateful that he has. We're starting to rebuild our department. We're getting folks that are qualified, that are looking to make a career here in Williamston, and that's important. Turnover at a police department can absolutely kill a budget. You know, if we bring people in, send them to the academy and stuff, you're looking at $10,000 right off the bat just to get them, and if they don't stay here, you're just out that money. So it's important that we be able to hire and retain and keep qualified officers and good officers, and I think we've done a very good job of doing that. Marcy certainly helped to keep our agency in such a status that people want to come here because they know they have qualified, good leadership that knows what they're doing. So we got a grant for a fully funded SRO at Palmetto Elementary School. So that grant came through. So now, instead of the district having to pay for an SRO at Palmetto Elementary, that's funded completely by the state, so that's a big deal, especially for the school district. We've also, Chief Marcy has written two grants, or a grant, that will fully fund 2 officers for 3 years. So that's going to be helpful with our budget too. We were, we started out our budget year, we were looking at about a $180,000 deficit. And again, our police department's a large portion of our overall budget in the town. So we were at a point of being able to have to cut positions, or at least not fill positions that we had open. With this grant, we were able to keep and retain some of those officers. In addition to that, our fleet of vehicles, we've got a lot of older vehicles. This comes with 2 brand new patrol cars, all the upfit, whether it be a patrol rifle, shotgun, the vehicle, the vest, everything that an officer needs is fully funded for 3 years. So that's a huge deal for us too.
Looking ahead to 2023, what have you and council identified as some of y'all's main?
So a couple of our major things that we're continuing to improve infrastructure with those ARPA funds. We've got 2 major projects that are currently out for construction. One of them's out for construction, the other one's out for bid. One of them's the Mill Village water line replacement. That's like a $1.5 million project. And then we also have the sewer project that will go from the fire department all the way out to the sewer wastewater treatment plant, which covers about 1/3 of the entire town, flows down to the park, and follows the creek all the way out to the sewer plant. So that'll be replaced in 2023 throughout 2024. That project's been bid, and it has been, matter of fact, I just signed the letter of a notice of intent to award that project to Cove Utilities. So a lot of good stuff going on throughout Williamston with infrastructure. Second thing we're focusing on this year, 2023, I think you're going to see is some improvements to Brookdale Park as well this year. Last year we focused a lot on Mineral Spring Park. This year we're going to do some focus work on Brookdale Park. We're expecting to have basketball courts to be resealed and restriped. 2 new goals going in there. We replaced 2 this year, but we're replacing the 2 new goals in 2023 as well, and making some improvements out there.
Any new businesses on the horizon?
Obviously, we've got Bojangles will be opening up. Looks like they're going to be opening up pretty soon, and we're still expecting. Ingalls is still on target. I've been told to open up in 2 years. They told me before the end of my term, so my term ends in 2024, January 2024. So it'll be exciting to see that project break ground and start fruition. I expect that'll happen in 2023. In order for that, because it takes about 2 years to build a store from start to finish. So
that's important.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge. You know, if you ask an average Williamston resident, we've been without a grocery store for 20 some odd years. What is the number one thing that you would like to have in Williamston? It is a grocery store, hands down. And not only are we getting a grocery store, this will also include the Starbucks. It includes all the amenities that you would see in the larger Ingalls. As a matter of fact, They just came back to us looking for some additional space. I'm being told this will be the largest Ingalls in the entire Ingalls, not franchise, but entire Ingalls Corporation. So it takes them about 2 years to build a store. We're excited to see that one get off the ground. I think it's important. Anytime a grocery store kind of serves as an anchor in the community, you're going to start seeing other businesses follow suit shortly thereafter. Ingalls breaks ground. You got Ace opened up, so you got the new Ace store over on Hamilton Street. They're doing a great business over there. Jim's got his car museum over there that we had a chance to see that open up several times throughout the year for the public to come and see his collection. So a lot of good things happening in Williamston, a lot of fun.